I'd like to start by offering my most humble pranams to our dearest Swami. And Swami, I ask that you think, speak, and act through me. Jai Sai Ram, dear brothers and sisters. I'm going to walk over on the side here and see if my computer is set up here. It looks like it is. Very good. So today I'd like to share a few insights and teachings that have been very helpful in my life. And so I will start with what I consider to be the most important teaching of Swami, which we've used for the communication module. And for those who haven't seen this picture, I'd like to share how this picture came about. It looks like it might be photoshopped. And it's not. Many years ago, Swami was talking to his students, and he said, I'm going to teach you about loving communication. He waved his hand and produced not one, but 30 photographs like this. And then he went on to proceed that this is Advaita in practice. Treat all as Swamis and yourself too as Swami. The difficulty is when the other Swami is not behaving properly, the other Swami is misbehaving. Then you remain the good Swami. Isn't that the truth when it comes to communication? So, and the other thing that's important about this picture, I believe, is Swami mentioned this is Advaita, non-dualism. That's the reason for our existence, is to realize our inherent divinity and the inherent divinity in everyone we meet and in all of creation. This picture also has significance for two other things. And Dr. Mohan mentioned one of them when he was speaking with the young adults. And he said one time, Swami talked to some people and he said, I'm going to teach you the secret of success in life. He says, I'll tell you about it in an interview tomorrow. So he called them in for an interview the next day, as he said he would. And he started out by saying, the secret to success in life, and whatever your job is when you're speaking to another person, see Swami in that person, exactly as in this photograph. And Swami has also said the secret to happiness is union with God. And we realize our own divinity and that of everyone we're speaking to. What could be better than that to spend the entire day speaking and interacting with Swami? So to help us with this, I'm going to find my guitar and we're going to, I'm hoping, yes, perfect, thank you. I'll just test to see if the, oh, that's, yes, that's one. Thank you. Just going to test. It sounds like the sound for the guitar is coming through. Okay, I'd like to start with the group song, and I'm not sure how many of you are familiar with this. It's a pretty simple song, so we're just going to sing it together in unison, and we'll do it in the spirit that each one of us has something to work on. And as Leonardo Guter has mentioned, the best thing we can offer Swami is to develop the virtues that he's talked about, and also to eliminate some of the things that aren't so good, like getting angry, criticizing others, and fostering smiling as always. So whatever Swami would like each of us to learn, let's open our minds and hearts to our dearest Swami and ask him to teach us that so that we can put it in practice in our daily lives. So let's sing together. This will be unison. We are opening up in sweet surrender to the luminous love light of the One. We are opening up in sweet surrender to the luminous love light of the One. We are opening. We are opening. We We are opening. We are opening. We are opening up in sweet surrender to the luminous love light of the one. Thank you. You all have beautiful voices. Thanks for joining. And I also want to thank everyone for the great honor to be with all of you and have your wonderful satsang and just being with you and having us all focus on Swami. And I also like to just compliment everyone who put this program together. The devotional singing was so inspiring, awesome. It was good to be reminded about the history of the bookstore, what a blessing that is, and all the wonderful singing. Is it D.V. and Kieran that sang the beautiful songs for us? Yes, beautiful, beautiful. So I'm going to talk about what Swami has said about the mother. Swami, and also in the scriptures, it said, adore the mother, the father, teacher, guru, and guest as God. Swami points out that always the mother is put first. And when Swami tries to explain or explains to us about the love of God, he compares it with the love of the mother because that's the greatest human love that we can know of, love of 1,000 mothers. So we owe everything to our parents, our dear mother and father, and Swami says we can never really repay that debt and that we should always honor and love them. And this is a picture, by the way, of my dear mother who just celebrated her 90th birthday, and I can't thank her enough for all the spiritual guidance she has given me throughout my life and continues to guide me. And also thanks to my father who has passed on some time back. Swami once said this quote, always make your mother happy and do not do anything to cause her pain. We can never be happy unless we make our mother happy. Now, in order to honor our dear parents, this is a beautiful song that talks about the love of our parents, and it would be nice if I can hear your beautiful voices again to sing along with me in unison. It's called I Am One with the Heart of the Mother. I am one with the heart of the mother. I am one with the heart of love. I am one with the heart of the Father. I am one with God. One more time together. I am one with the heart of the mother. I am one with the heart of love. I am one with the heart of the Father. I am one with God. Ave Maria, Kyrie eleison. Amen. Thank you for singing along. You all have beautiful voices. I'd like to talk just briefly about loving communication. And this is something where when we talk about Swami's teaching, we could go on for, a half a day for a workshop. I'll just focus on a few things. Again, bringing back this concept of seeing Swami and others and realizing we're Swami. And something magical happens when we realize we're talking to Swami because we love Swami so much. We are just naturally going to speak with love, humility, respect. So just picturing this picture and imagining that the next person we talk to, the person sitting next to us, is Swami. This is pretty much the emotion that I think we would all feel. Oh, dearest Swami, please help me see the Almighty in everyone. And when I do, I'll speak with love. Love, pure love, 'cause I'm talking to you. Love, pure love, 'cause I'm talking to you. Now, the other side of the equation, one side is us recognizing Swami and the other person. The other side is realizing that we ourselves are Swami. And for me, that's a little bit harder because I know about all the faults and things that I have, so it's harder to remember and realize that I'm God. However, Swami says each and every one of us should be repeating over and over again, I am God, I am God, I am no different than God. And a number of years ago, in the late 1890 or 1990s, Swami gave us the 5 proclamations. And this is what he said before he gave us this proclamation. He said, if your intention to experience Brahmananda, the Sat Chit Ananda, is sincere, then keep ever in your mind what I'm about to tell you. And then he gave us the 5 proclamations and said we should say these every single day and keep it ever in our mind. The first one is, I am God, I am God, I am no different than God. The second one is, I am the indivisible, the absolute supreme. The third is, I am Sat Chit Ananda Swarupa, which is, I am being, awareness, and bliss. And then the fourth one is, I am ever content, fear can never enter me. And the fifth is, the fourth is, grief and anxiety can never affect me. And the fifth is, I am ever content, fear can never enter me. He also said, utter Om Tat Sat, which is the threefold manifestation of God. And fortunately, all these are in a song that I think most of you have heard before. However, what I did is I added Swami's exact words, so some of the lines have changed a little bit, and I thought what we can do on this one is sing a call and response. We'll just go through it one time, just to help us remember that we are also, each and every one of us, God. And we'll repeat Swami's 5 proclamations in the form of a song. I am God, I am God, I am no different from God. God, I am God, I am no different from God. I am the indivisible, the absolute supreme. I am the indivisible, the absolute supreme. I am Sat Chit Nanda Swarupa. I am Sat Chit Nanda Swarupa. I am being, awareness, and bliss. I am being, awareness, and bliss. I am Om Tat Sat Om. I am love, I am truth, I am peace eternally. I am love, I am truth, I am peace eternally. I am ever content, fear can never enter me. Grief and anxiety can never affect me. Grief and anxiety can never affect me. I am Om Tat Sat Om. I am God, I am God, I am no different from God. Now, remembering God is not always easy. Just going to set my guitar down. Let's see, I'll bring it. sometimes we meet very interesting personalities, and some people know how to press our hot button. How many people out there have hot buttons that sometimes people push? Yes, I know I do. Now, one of the best solutions that I can think of when I catch myself, having this reaction is to remember this picture. And then I realize it's Swami pushing my hot button, and it helps calm me down. The other thing that we use at work at Kaiser Permanente, a lot of times I use Swami's exact words like first understanding, then adjustment. And another way of putting that a lot of the doctors understand is when someone pushes your hot button, first understanding, then adjustment. Sometimes I tell them that. The other saying that they like is get curious rather than furious. So when someone, we get upset, to first get curious and try to understand that person better. And remembering that we're talking to divinity is another big blessing to help us. Now, basics of communication. First, I want to thank Gene Massey because he reminded me of something. He asked me if I was going to talk about the communication workshop, and I said just a teeny bit. He says, make sure you tell him this, and I agree with Gene. This is one of the most important things. Swami says, help ever, hurt never. So we really want to do everything we can not to hurt any person in any way we communicate. Because if we hurt another person by unkind word, it can fester for a lifetime. Swami said if we slip and break our ankle or our foot, it'll heal in a few months. Unkind words can fester for a lifetime. So we have to remember that applies to everything, including email. So in email, sometimes we try and work out problems and difficulties. And what happens? Things get worse. It's so much easier on a computer screen to type out all these things that aren't so nice because we're not facing the person, right? And it causes all kind of problems. And the best way to resolve that is to talk in person. And when we do, and we're face-to-face with someone, we just are naturally much more polite. We have all the body language, and it just works out much better. So the next time we're getting ready to send off an email that might have something negative, something hurtful, something where we're trying to quickly and efficiently resolve a conflict by email, text message, WhatsApp, it just doesn't work. It's always best to try and do it in person. And if we can't do it in person, of course, we can do it on the phone or by Skype or FaceTime. It's just doing it in a more personal way where we can see and hear the person. So thank you, Eugene, for that reminder. The other thing is showing respect for people. And there's many different ways to show respect. One of the best ways is the simplest, is we can just listen patiently to what the person is saying. Listen with love, listen patiently, and try and understand what the other person is saying. Now, there's another thing. This type of thing happens throughout the day. We'll be brainstorming with people, and one person will say one thing, and the next person will say, yes, but, and then they'll go on. And this is a hard habit to break, and so if we just try to make a little bit of improvement, maybe 10% per week, just have this consciously. I know that when I'm talking to someone and I give an idea on, for example, how to improve patient care or anything, and I think it's a pretty good idea, and then the other person says, yes, Joe, but, and they didn't think much of that idea, right? So they didn't really mean it that way, but that's just the effect it has. So if we can try and use yes and more, that would be wonderful. And I can tell you that everybody in your family, your friends, and all your colleagues at work will definitely notice a difference in this type of casual conversation. And it's also very helpful, by the way, when you're in a room of people and you're brainstorming. If everybody would say yes and just keep on building on the ideas, the brainstorming and planning goes much better. And then the other thing that's important is that it's nice to validate the other person's opinion, even if we don't agree. So, for example, I might be talking with Mike, and we might have a slightly different, or even a wildly different opinion about something. So I can listen patiently, and then the bridge is I could say something like, Mike, based on what you've just told me, I can see why you think this is the best way to proceed. And Is it okay if we just talk about another approach so together we can figure out what's the best way to handle this situation? So when we do that type of thing, it helps the other person know we value their opinion, and then they're going to be more open to whatever we have to say. And it could also be something like, oh, that's a good point. And then we bridge to our opinion. Now, these are two of Swami's most helpful sayings that I think we all know, and I'm going to talk a little bit about how we can put that into practice. You cannot always oblige, but you can always speak obligingly. We can't always oblige when someone asks us for something. However, we can always speak obligingly. For example, let's say that someone asks me to do something and I can't do it. It's nice to get curious and also practice Swami's teachings, first understanding, then adjustment. If I know what you're asking for or what you're trying to accomplish, and I get curious, I ask you a few questions, I might find another way I can help you. So instead of saying, no, sorry, can't help, and leave it at that, once I find out what you really need, I might be able to say something like, I wish I could do whatever you asked for, and what I can do is, I may have figured out another way to help them, even if it's referring them to another person. So there's many ways that we can put this into practice. Now the next one is a very, very helpful one, and this one is first understanding, then adjustment. To the best of my knowledge, the first time Swami talked about that was with Robert and Rita Bruce, and he was talking to them in an interview and trying to explain about loving communication between husband and wife. And I think that, of course, not only does that apply to husband and wife, it applies to everyone with loving communication. So just give you an idea of how this can play out. There's many different ways. Swami tells us first we should listen very carefully so we understand the other person before we respond. And he went on to say that most of the time we do just the opposite. Someone talks for a few seconds, we interrupt them, and then we start giving them advice commonly. So if we can just try and listen a little bit more patiently, it'll be so much easier to come to some common agreement and make adjustments to each other, whether it's in marriage or at work or in whatever your work is. I'll give you an idea of how this plays out. There's, as was mentioned before, I've had the blessing of helping at a free clinic, which is going to be celebrating our 13th anniversary. Actually, we finished 13 years this coming January the 8th. And so we have a lot of patients that come there, and you know, they're all types, just like in any clinic or hospital. We have one particular person who, whenever he comes to the clinic, he's always angry about something, and people at the front usually tell me, we don't know what to do with this guy, he's causing so much disruption. So I'll go back and I'll just sit down with him and I'll ask him how he's doing. And all I do is put my hand on his shoulder and say, tell me, I won't use his name, Mr. So-and-so, please, how can we help you? And I just listen to him. That's all I do. And automatically he just calms down because someone's finally listening. So just actually 2 weekends ago, the same thing happened, and I happened to be in the middle of seeing a patient, so I couldn't go out and talk with them. So one of the volunteers asked me, they said, what are we supposed to do? He doesn't do this, he's causing so much trouble. I said, please go there and just try and understand him from his perspective, okay? Forget about what he's done so far. Just be loving and kind, and just sit next to him in a quiet place where, you know, you have a little bit of privacy, and just sit down and find out what's happening from his perspective, and then you'll probably figure out the best way we can help him today. And the person came back and talked to me after I was finished seeing the patient, and he said, wow, what a great thing. This first understanding, then adjustment really works great. Everything, you know, the guy calmed down just like he had with me in the past, and so just simply listening to someone, showing them that we care, is all that we have to do. I'm not sure, I can't really see any of you, I can just see the spotlight, but anyways, I'm curious how many of you can raise your hand, even though I might not see it. How many of you know the Pink twins from Australia? Okay, it looks like quite a few, at least where I can see. There are two lovely ladies, they both passed on from physical form. Swami loved them very much, and he would give them lots of advice. And one of the advice that he gave them regarding these difficult conversations or difficult situations where we're not really sure what to say is he told them, when you put enough love into any situation, no matter how difficult it is, it will always come out good in the end. And I can tell you, dear brothers and sisters, that has happened to me many times. I've been in a situation where I just didn't know what to say next, and I tried everything I knew. And so I would just pray to Swami inside. I'd say, Swami, please help me. I don't know what to say. Please speak through me. Help me love this person and help me work through this difficult situation. And I can tell you that without exception, Swami has always come to my rescue and has spoken through me and helped me work it out, just basically on love. And I can guarantee Swami will do that for each and every one of us. Okay, this one I don't have to spend too much time on because our dear brother Leonardo Guter actually covered this quite well. And I agree with him completely. We should all work on not criticizing others. And I'll give you actually some reasons why we shouldn't do that, which many of you know. However, it's helpful just to go over that. When we criticize another person, what should we be thinking? As soon as we catch ourselves, oh, even if it's just a thought, I haven't actually expressed it. Well, this is what Swami has said. When we're seeing faults in others, we should be thinking, what about me? Because Swami has given this example on numerous occasions. When we point our finger at someone, which is what we're doing when we criticize, guess what? There's 3 fingers pointing back at me. And he said we should ask ourselves, not just once, twice, but thrice, do I have this in me? And oftentimes we do, as Swami says. And then, so basically, we may have this fault within us. The other thing is we are wasting our precious time. And Swami has said we should be looking for the good in everyone rather than the bad. So that's the other thing, look for the good. And then this is the scary part. I don't know how many people have heard this from Swami. He has said this on a couple of occasions where I've read in his discourses. Even if I do not have a particular fault that I'm seeing in another person, because I've asked myself, 3 times, do I have this? Swami says when we focus on someone's negative qualities, even if we don't have them, it will pollute our mind. It will contaminate our minds, and before long, we're going to have that characteristic. So hopefully this will give all of us the motivation to do what Leonardo Guter has mentioned, which is take a pledge that we're never going to criticize anyone, and that we're always, not criticize someone, not say negative. And what was the other one? Pardon me? Yes, find the good in others, correct. Okay. How many of you are worrywarts? I know that I am. I think most of us are to one extent or another, and Swami has had a lot to say about this. Our dear Swami has said that the main cause of human suffering and pain is worry. The main cause of human suffering and pain is worry. Dr. Mike Congleton was sharing with me on the way over in the car and also last evening an interview that he had with Swami. And Swami told him, you worry too much about your family. You worry too much about your job. Basically, let Swami handle this. Focus on the present, which is the omnipresent. And Swami has said this on numerous occasions to many people and in discourses. It's the omnipresent. Why? Because what's happening right at this second is a result of all of our past actions. The fact that we're here celebrating on this wonderful occasion with music, discourses, catching up on what's going on in this organization is all because of all of our actions previously. Furthermore, this is the seed. Whatever we're thinking and doing is the seed of what's going to happen in the future. So Swami says, if you want to have a good future, just focus on the present, do the best you can in the present. The future will naturally unfold. Another reason not to worry is Swami says, when you worry about things, how many things that you actually worry about come true? Very few, right? He also said, has worrying ever solved any problems? I don't know about you, but worrying for me has never solved any problems. So, now, the next concept I'd like to talk about is the concept of surrender. And we've talked about this a little bit with previous speakers, and I just want to tell you a beautiful quote from Swami that is very, very meaningful to me that I saw in the hospital. I had the good fortune of working in Swami's hospital for the first time in 1986. And there's a beautiful poster, I'll never forget it, and it showed a picture of a gift box with a beautiful ribbon on it, and then Swami's quote, which said, accept everything that happens, everything that comes your way, as a gift from God, to be enjoyed with great satisfaction, as a gift of love for your own good. Isn't that a beautiful saying? And then this is also Swami continuing on, and we'll keep our fingers crossed. I'm not sure if the audio is going to come. Actually, if the audio doesn't come, I can take the microphone and put it on the speakers, and we'll listen to it that way. I'm not sure exactly what happened there. Was it possible we were playing a different video? Or, anyways, fortunately we had something happen with the sound. I'm not sure, and that's okay. That's all Swami's wish. Anyways, whatever Swami was saying was in the small print, so you can see that. What we might try for the next video is for me to mic what's coming out. Do you think that's a good idea, or we should give it one more go from the sound people? Give it one more go, okay. All right, so what we're going to do now is, just as we think about the concept of surrender, and this is a good example, accept everything as, no matter what happens, is being good for us. So this is a song that probably most of you haven't heard. However, I think we can learn it together. It's a beautiful song to help us focus on surrendering and letting Swami do all the work and leaving everything in his hands. So I'll sing the first verse, and then I'll invite you to sing with me, and let's sing this song together. It'll be call and response. You all have such beautiful voices. Thank you for joining. Okay. Into your hands I lay my spirit. Into your hands I lay my life. Please sing along with me. Here we go. Into your hands I lay my spirit. Into your hands I lay my life. One more time. Into your hands I lay my spirit. Into your hands I lay my life. Okay, now I'm going to sing the second verse. Into your hands into your hands I lay. Into your hands I lay my life. Please sing along with me. Into your hands into your hands I lay. Into your hands I lay time, second verse. Into your hands into your hands into your hands I lay. Into your hands I lay my life, my life, my life. Okay, thank you for singing along. I'd like to tell you a story about how Swami has helped me understand this concept a little bit better. I used to think that the surrender business was mainly for the big ticket items and, that I can handle other things. Well, Swami showed me otherwise this week. I just got back from India, from being in Prashanti Nilayam, and I got back Monday. So Tuesday, I was making out my usual to-do list so I could do all the errands. And I got this idea that instead of putting Joe's to-do list, I put Swami's to-do list. And I'll tell you, a magical thing happened that I've never had happen to me before. I had so many things on the to-do list, I didn't think I could accomplish it in one day, but I thought I would give it a start. And remember, I'm kind of groggy, jet lagged, not thinking clearly. Well, I started driving the car, and I was hitting nothing but green lights. I walked into stores, and like the manager was there to greet me and help me. I mean, I've never been so efficient. Within just a few hours, Swami's to-do list went from everything down to nothing. And he also reminded me in the course of doing all these errands of a bunch of things I had forgotten to put on the to-do list. So anyways, I encourage all of you that we should all let Swami guide our life in everything from the big ticket items that we're really having a hard time with to everything. And I think that we actually do this a lot more than we think, because I know a lot of you do this prayer at the start of the day. Oh Lord, I am now born from the womb of sleep. I am determined to carry out the tasks of this day as offerings to thee with the ever-present before my mind's eye. Let my words, thoughts, and deeds be sacred and pure. Direct me and guide me this day. That's surrender. And that's the way a lot of us start the day. So if we just continually have that thought to let Swami guide us, I personally have found that's the best way to lead my life. Okay, so we'll keep our fingers crossed, and we'll just see what happens on this one. This is another beautiful one, and this focuses this little clip on how to enjoy every moment and live in the present, which we started to talk about already. And Swami will talk about the youth being lucky. And I want all of you to consider yourself youth, because you're young at heart. And Swami also gave a definition of youth to Dr. General Chibber, who wrote Swami's Mahavakya on leadership. He said, youth is the unwavering determination to control the senses. So for anyone at any age, if we have that unwavering determination, we're considered youth. Anyways, this message is, I think, for all of us. And I'll pray to Swami that we can hear the video. It's a beautiful clip. Yes. Well, first of all, being a sound person, I know that it's not easy to do sound. And getting everything set up at the last minute was very, very challenging. So I'd like to thank the sound people for the great job they've done the whole time. And they're the unsung heroes that usually don't get any praise. So let's put our hands together and thank the sound team. And thank you for all the good work you do, because whenever we have a retreat and watch Swami videos, we wouldn't hear anything unless you all were doing such a great job. So thank you all for doing that. And thank you also, Jean, for doing the videotaping. So in the spirit of remembering that Swami is always with us, he always has our back, let's sing this song together in unison. It's called In Every Moment of My Life. In every moment of my life, please be with me. In every single act of mine, be thou my guide. Baba, Sai Baba, Baba, Sai Baba. When I slip, when I fall, lend me a hand. When I stray far away, bring me back again. Baba, Sai Baba, Baba, Sai Baba. From the darkness into light, lead me, Father, from the unreal unto the real. Baba, Sai Baba, Baba, Sai Baba, Baba, Sai Baba. In every moment of my life, please be with me. Okay. The next is Swami's teachings on communication. And basically, Swami is our role model, and we know that whenever he talks, we see it in his voice, in his emotion, his body language. And the most powerful way Swami has communicated is by his actions and all the wonderful service he's done in every aspect of life. His free medical institutions, his free institutes where they give free, high-quality education, where all the students turn out to be embodiments, have the highest character, and all the other huge projects, such as water projects. So that's the way people know what is important, is by our actions. And Swami has demonstrated this all throughout our life. There are some words that are very, very important. People may forget what we've said and what we did, but they will never forget how we made them feel. So let me tell you a story about how this works out. And this was, by the way, a philosopher by the name of Maya Angelou from St. Louis, Missouri. 40 years ago, I went to see a doctor when I was an undergraduate. And I can't remember why I went to see her or even what she said or did for me. However, I will always remember how she made me feel. She walked into the office and she had a beautiful smile on her face, like she knew me for ages. And it made me feel so good. I thought, oh my God. And so 40 years later, I can still remember her beautiful smile and the way she made me feel. Right after that visit, I prayed to God. This was before I had met Swami. I said, God, I hope I get into medical school. I pray that I will someday with your help. And if I become a doctor, I want to be just like her. I want to be able to come into the room and have a beautiful smile and a positive energy and help everyone, because I know that to me was so helpful and healing. So smiling is one of the best things we can do, and that's one of the things Leonardo Guter also mentioned. We should always be smiling. And of course, whenever we see Swami smile, our hearts melt. And you know, the same thing happens when we see anyone smile, especially a child or grandchild. A child smiles and the whole room lights up in joy. So in the spirit, I think most of you are familiar with Swami's light meditation, okay, where we have the light inside and it goes to different parts of our body. And then eventually this divine light, which is our divine love, we spread it out to everyone, all of our friends, relatives, even the people that are, you know, we may not care for. We just shower the love all over the world, all over the universe. So in this, and Swami has also said on a number of occasions, we should spread our divine light and love all over the world and be beacons of love. So with this in mind, let's sing together a song that I know all of you know, called This Little Light of Mine, as we think about how during and after this meeting, we're going to shower our love with each and every person we meet. Please sing along with me. Oh, this little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. Deep down in my heart, I'm gonna let it shine. Deep down in my heart, I'm gonna let it shine. Deep down in my heart, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. Everywhere I go, everywhere I go, I'm gonna let it shine. Everywhere I go, I'm gonna let it shine. Everywhere I go, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. From my heart to you, I'm gonna let it shine. From my heart to you, I'm gonna let it shine. From my heart to you, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. One more time, this little light of mine, this little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. Thank you very much. Beautiful. Okay, I have just a couple more things. However, I wanted to check in time-wise. So I'll ask Marilyn. I think I have probably about 5 more minutes, but I can stop right now if... Any guidance? Oh, she's behind me. Yes. Okay. 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 Okay, so we'll go over on how to apologize. So this is something that is very... a lot of people have told me that they're apology challenged. They're not really sure how to make apologies, so I'm going to go over some guidance from Swami. Apologies should be short and sweet, no buts and no excuses. In most cases, if I were to talk to someone, and I had to do a lot of apologizing throughout my career, and I still do, if I keep a patient waiting, for example. And so the way I used to do it was, I'm so sorry to keep you waiting, but, and then I would give excuses, I'm the doctor on the call, this happened, that happened. That's not good. So to keep it short and simple, I'm sorry to keep you waiting, I apologize. I'm here now, you have my full attention. Just leave it at that. 1 out of 100 people will say, and just why were you so late? And I'll tell them. However, most people don't know. They just want me to respect their time, right? So that's the key thing. And Swami once, to show how important this is, there was a Westerner in the ashram who had overstayed her visa. And the police were coming to the ashram to bring her to jail. And basically Swami knew that, so he called her in for an interview. He said, look, the police are coming, you're in big trouble. This is what's going to happen. They're going to take you down to the station. There's going to be a lot of yelling. It's going to be very nasty. And so this is what you need to do. He says, I want you to say 3 things and not anything other than what I tell you. And just keep on repeating it over and over and over. I'm sorry, my mistake, please forgive me. I'm sorry, my mistake, please forgive me. Swami was absolutely right. When she got to the police station, it was very ugly. They were yelling and screaming at her. However, she did remember exactly what Swami said, and she kept on repeating, I'm sorry, my mistake, please forgive me. And finally, after some time, they just gave up. They couldn't. And of course, she didn't get off the hook completely. She was deported. However, she didn't go to jail, so, some good came out of that. So we should remember that. Now, there's a few caveats here. Sometimes, I don't know about you, but sometimes I've gotten people upset and I don't know exactly why. So it's okay to clarify. So if you did something where your husband or wife is upset and you're not exactly sure, most of the time we know. However, you might have to ask, honey, what did I do that that caused you to be upset? So sometimes we have to clarify. And then the other thing is, this apology will work in most situations. However, let's say that I have made the same mistake again for my friend, my colleague, or my wife. And I just say, I'm sorry, my mistake, please forgive me. And I've done it 20 times. Now, what is the chance that my wife is going to believe me? Because, I've done it 20 times. So we have to resolve not to do it again, and we have to say something that lets them know that we're really going to do our best not to make the same mistake again. However, most of the time, just a simple apology, short and sweet, no excuses, is sufficient. And this is Swami's exact words for that young lady, and it applies to all of us. I'm sorry, my mistake, please forgive me. Okay, we're going to close on this because this is basically, Swami has given us lots of good advice, and Namasmarana has been one of them. And I just want to share a couple of things about Namasmarana. We'll sing this, and then that'll be the end. Swami has said that when we do Namasmarana, we should, to make it very powerful, we should visualize this form. And he said that, I think all of you know this, in case there's any people who are new to Sai Baba does not encourage the worship of any one form, because all forms are his. So whether it's Jesus Christ, Krishna, Rama, Buddha, it doesn't matter, or even the formless. So, however, if we're worshiping a form, and most of us are worshiping this beautiful form here on stage in this beautiful picture, so we should try and visualize that. And also, he should remember, it's like a jewel. We shouldn't treat it like a marble and just do it rotely, like someone saying, I grew up a Catholic, and if we say the rosary, and we're not really saying it with feeling, we're just doing it out of habit, it doesn't do much good. And it's the same thing with Namasmarana. We should think about its power, its majesty, its sweetness. And when we do it sincerely like that, it has incredible, incredible power. And so with that, let's close with a beautiful bhajan. And actually, if Bala or whoever else has the tabla would like to join in, this would be a good one to have some percussion. And we're going to sing this one together. And should we do this call and response or unison? Unison. Good. My heart is beating, Sai Ram, Sai Ram. My heart is beating, Sai Ram, Sai Ram. Keeps on repeating, Sai Ram, Sai Ram. Keeps on repeating, Sai Ram, Sai Ram. Sai Ram, Sai Ram, Sai Ram, Sai Ram. Sai Ram, Sai Ram, Sai. Sai Ram, Sai Ram. Sai Ram, Sai Ram, Sai Ram, Sai Ram, Sai. With every breath of mine, so hum Sai Ram. With every breath of mine, so hum Sai Ram. For speech and action, Sarvam Sai Ram. For speech and action, Sarvam Sai Ram. My soul eternal, Atma Sai Ram. My soul eternal, Atma Sai Ram. My bliss eternal, Ananda Sai Ram. My bliss eternal, Ananda Sai Ram. Sai Ram, Sai Ram, Sai Ram, Sai Ram, Sai Ram, Sai Ram, Sai. Sai Ram, Sai Ram, Sai Ram, Sai Ram, Sai Ram, Sai Ram, Sai. Sai Ram, Sai Ram, Sai Ram, Sai Ram, Sai Ram, Sai Ram, Sai. My heart is beating, Sai Ram, Sai Ram. Thank you all for your kind attention. Thank you, Swami.